Hey guys, what's up? It's me, AZODi. Today I wanted to show you a quick example of my track review service. If you are a music producer looking to do more in K-pop and J-pop, I would recommend watching this video as you're going to learn some really cool techniques that I've used and stuff that I've learned. A lot of the time, as I always say in a lot of my videos, being a good musician, producer, all that sort of stuff is super important, but it's only about 15 to 20% of the entire music career puzzle, and the other 80% is mindset. And I think that's something that's often overlooked, and I always make sure to talk a fair bit about that in these track reviews. I got this song sent to me through my website by Rogue Nation, and what I do is I listen to intermediate to advanced music producers' work and then give them advice on how to make the song appropriate for the K and J-pop pitching standard. Now, normally this is a paid service because what I do is I actually create a special video just for you, and this normally video can range from anything from, I say 15 minutes, but a lot of the time it'll go over that because I just want to give as much information as possible. If you would like to sign up for this service, go to azodimusic.com. I'll put a link in the description box below, and unfortunately it's not for everyone, as you have to be of an intermediate to advanced standard. Cool. Yeah, this is a great song. I will show you the video that I sent to Rogue Nation. If you want some free K or J-pop MIDI chords, you can actually download them from the website as well.
Yo no creo en las casualidades. Yo puedo ser para ti, tú puedes ser para mí. Yo creo en el destino. Siento que no es la primera vez que te cruzas en mi camino. Aprovechemos el reencuentro. Te juro que no te pierdo. Cuántas ganas de robarte un beso. Aprovechemos el reencuentro. Te juro que no te pierdo. Cuántas ganas de robarte un beso. Tus ojos son bling bling de verdad. Brillaste luz adentro de mi oscuridad. En la noche de diamante aguanta presión. Congela el par y llama la atención. Paraliza el tiempo con tus luces de neón. Conozco tu mirada y reconozco tu intención. Que nada nos dañe esta ocasión perfecta. Yo creo en el destino. Siento que no es la primera vez que te cruzas en mi camino. Aprovechemos el reencuentro. Te juro que no te pierdo. Cuántas ganas de robarte un beso. Aprovechemos el reencuentro. Te juro que no te pierdo. Cuántas ganas de robarte un beso. Aprovechemos el reencuentro. Cuántas ganas de
This is good track, Calamari. Hey guys, Calamari the Kid. Sorry.
Paraliza el tiempo con tus luces de neón. Conozco tu mirada y reconozco tu intención. Que nada nos dañe esta ocasión perfecta. Aprovechemos el reencuentro. Te juro que no te pierdo. Cuántas ganas de robarte un beso. Aprovechemos el reencuentro. Te juro que no te pierdo. Cuántas ganas de robarte un beso.
Just off the bat, I just want to say that this song is really, really strong. It's really, really tight. The production is good. Your choice of instruments are awesome. Vocalist is spot on, really, really good. Yeah, I'm going to be coming in from a strict K-pop producer standpoint with this. My theory is very minimal, so I can only offer you a bit of theory advice, but I can give you very strong songwriting advice, production advice, and what it takes to get the song to a professional standard that a K-pop publisher or manager would hear this and go, yeah, this is a banger. I want to use this, all right? But let's start around the intro, okay? So the first thing that stuck out to me, I'm going to be very direct with you because I think that's the best way to do this. If I just tell you it's good, that's not helping in any way. Okay, so yeah, off the bat, this is the intro. Awesome, very nice. It sets the tone well. First one is the vocalist is great. I love her tone, very nice. But I feel like she's hitting an odd note. Now, whether that's down to tuning, whether it's simply she's singing the wrong note, or the fact that she bends in between two notes, it sounds quite discordant and it clashes with the chord that's playing. I'll play it to you. There, I think it's between the first and second note, the bend. It just sounds a little bit off to me. Yeah, off the bat as well, your chords are very, very nice. I really like your chords. Let's have a listen. This is smooth, this is nice. Yo creo en el destino. Siento que no es la primera vez que te cruzas en mi camino. Aprovechemos el reencuentro. Te juro que no. Cool. All right. So, a couple of things here. The verse develops nicely. Halfway through, you bring in the kick. Awesome. Now, the biggest thing one of the big things I noticed with this song is that the sections aren't very clearly defined. I can't tell on my first few listens of this song, as a listener, is it a verse going straight into a chorus? Is it a verse developing and then maybe going into a pre-chorus? The thing is, it's not super obvious to me what's happened. The vocal range doesn't lift up into maybe a higher register. There's not that many new obvious musical elements that have been dropped in. It's very important when you start a song to know where you're going to end up. Now, the big thing I do with all of my songs is I map out the entire song before I start anything. And as you can see here, I've done a real basic formula that I use for pop songs in Korea and Asia. Now, a lot of the time this can vary, but this is a good foundation to start with. So what you want to be able to do is say the grey, you have an intro, and then we'll have the verse in the blue, and then as you can see I've done 2 for blue. That's to show development, which you've done where you bring in the kick, so that's great. Orange is pre-chorus or build, and then you've got the yellow, which is the chorus, and then I do halfway for a B chorus, but it doesn't have to be, it could just be a repeat of the A chorus. Now, one thing as well to notice that I like doing is I only do half a second verse, but it doesn't matter. It depends on the tempo of the song. It really varies, but as I said, this is a foundation, and then you can pretty much copy and paste it over, and then you add the green for the middle 8, and then, you know, whatever you want to do, last chorus and ending. Now, this is a really good way to kind of get the formula and get yourself in a good headspace to start with. Alright, so what I said earlier about the chords, they're very nice, they're perfect, they're great. But one thing that you are doing is you're repeating the same, it sounds like the same 4 chord progression throughout pretty much the entire song. You need to be able to really up your game with adding elements when it does come to the chorus, and you need to make it very obvious it's the chorus if you do intend on using the same 4 chords. I personally, I rarely do that. I do it every now and then in a pitch and it gets accepted for pitching, which is fine, but I feel more comfortable personally just adding more chords. Now, whether you want to be able to do a 4 chord progression in the verse, or maybe have it as an 8 chord progression, or maybe you could do an 8-chord progression in the chorus. It doesn't really matter as long as there's a bit more variation in the chords. One good technique that I have learned by doing J-pop and K-pop is it's encouraged to maybe modulate in and out of key a bit. This is kind of considered more fun, it's considered more interesting, and it's in jazz it happens all the time, and don't forget that a lot of this has come from jazz. So that might be an idea, just throwing ideas out there, see what you think, give it a go. When you do add new elements to the chorus, now there's a few ideas you can do. One really simple technique that I like to do is find the root note of the song, which you'll know already, and then just hold a high note over maybe over the entire chorus or the second half of the chorus. This adds a great sense of tension and release, and it works really well if you want to add a lot of subtle layers. The trick is with a lot of choruses when you're adding elements it's just subtle extra elements that you can do to make the song more interesting. And obviously in the sonic spectrum you try and fill out the gaps in the music, right? So one simple technique is I just hold that, just the root note, around that sort of register, around the high register, and blend it really low into the mix. That's really, really good technique that you can do, and maybe put a little bit of sidechain compression on it. That works really well. Yeah. I reckon when you get into the B chorus, I would try and add a brand new riff that's really simple, probably around there. And maybe just have it as a repetitive hook that you can put in sitting underneath the chorus. This would be really cool. And then what you could do is actually strip it down into a real basic minimal form, so less notes, less complicated, and actually stick it near the intro, because there is quite a bit of space in the intro still to add a little riff. Like... something like that. That was really minimal, but something there that you can put, and then that way they've already heard the main hook of the song, and then you can show them again. And by this time they already would have known it from the intro, because it was literally one of the first things that they hear at the start of the song. A lot of the time when I pitch songs to Korea, 100% of the tracks that I'm writing are in English. This is something that is kind of important, kind of not. It's a weird one, because they're going to translate it anyway, but at the same time they will extract certain words in English and implement it into the Korean song or a Japanese song, or sometimes Mandarin. So this is something that you may want to think about, is just to have the English lyrics going on, but don't spend too much time on it. I've had some songs where it's been in English, but it's really just it's kind of like lyrics that don't make sense, but at the same time it sounds good. So this is this weird sort of balancing that you can do if you're working with your top liner. Yeah. One massive thing that you need to think about as well if you're pitching to K-pop is that there aren't very many vocal harmonies, if any. Now this is huge. You really, really need to get as many vocal harmonies as you can into the mix, and this will be an extra padding element to keep the song interesting. This is something that you can use to pad out the choruses as well if you want to show development. If you're writing for a song like if you're writing for a band like say Twice, there's quite a few members in the group. Now, one thing that you want to consider is that if you're just doing one lead vocal the whole time, what are the other singers going to be doing? Because they can dance, I'm sure, but at the same time, there's going to be parts where they're just standing around doing nothing. So this is something that you want to be able to consider, is always try and have a few harmonies going consistently, and then when it gets to the chorus, you want to be having, I don't know, 4 to 6 to 8 different harmonies going on at once. And this is stuff like, tuning the lead to an octave and tuning it down an octave, and having thirds and fifths and counter melodies and all this sort of stuff. You really want to be able to put in as many vocal harmonies as possible throughout the mix. And this is something else to consider. Another subtle thing as well, which you don't have the problem here, but with future beats, is that you want to they need to be able to dance to it. They need to be able to sit back and think about, well, can someone dance to this song? And this is something that I learned in one of my mixes, was when it got to middle 8 and I dropped the energy down, I was recommended to drop in a hi-hat even at the lowest point, just keep some sort of percussion going. This doesn't work all the time. This is down to your own judgment, and you're only going to develop judgment by doing it more and more and more. But it's kind of something that had to be done to keep the flow of the beat going. And this song doesn't have that problem at all, of course, but this is something to think about in the future. When you add in more musical elements and more harmonies, I also feel that the lead vocal needs to step it up a little bit, maybe open up the range a bit, maybe go a bit higher, add a bit more variation in the melody, just to simply show the listener that this is the big payoff, this is what's going to be happening, this is the good bit. Another point as well is try to get lyrics that are going to stick out in people's minds, you know, like a word that someone can hang their coat on, so to speak, and this would probably be the focus of the chorus, and I'd try and orientate the melody around the, you know, those big words that you hear in the chorus. This is just what I've learned and heard people do, and with music it's always subjective and there's never a right or wrong way, but there is more of a majority of a way that you can do things. All right.
Paraliza el tiempo con tu luz de neón. Conozco tu mirada, reconozco tu intención. Que nada nos dañe esta ocasión perfecta. Yo creo en el destino.
Cool, yeah, so V2, as I said, there's a lot of variation, which is great. It's mixed up and different from verse 1, but a lot of the time in K-pop, it's probably going to be a rap section, so I'm not sure if your vocalist can rap, but it might be something to consider with future songs. The song feels very... it's like one dynamic of the entire song apart from the middle 8. And I think, obviously, when you add more to the chorus, I think it's going to lift the song a lot more. One technique that I thought I would hear in the middle 8 and in the pre-choruses, which I don't think you've done much of, is to add a riser, you know, simple stuff like that. You know, add a riser, just increase the hype, increase the emotion and tension, because when I'm listening to it, the emotion of it is, it starts off great, but it doesn't really take you anywhere. It doesn't give you highs and lows of the song. It's very like one level, and I think this is something that you will need to focus on in your next song. But yeah, as I said, I'll add the questions in the PDF that you can refer to, but I feel that you want to be able to take people on a musical journey and show development and theme of ideas, which you can start right from the beginning and then take them all the way through to the end of the song. But you just really want a few more highs, you want a few more lows, and yeah, you want to be able to enhance that with risers, maybe percussive elements, maybe add some extra fills, maybe actually just cut the song out for a bit and have vocal and then bring it all back in. As you know, that I use that technique all the time because it just simply works and it's so easy to do. Yeah, let's have a listen to the middle 8 here. This is nice. It's got a good vibe, this bit. So bring in the riser, bring in the hype, get a drum fill, you know, rolls and stuff, get people excited. One cool technique actually here you could do, and I do this a lot, is instead of just having the chorus come straight in, postpone the anticipation for an extra bar. So what I would do here, instead of everything coming in, what you could do is just have the kick and vocal. Just one kick and then nothing for here. So boom, nothing. And then it'll come in like here, boom, and then have like some big epic fill, and then bring in all of the instruments here. So you kind of postpone the delay. That's a technique I use a lot when I come out of the middle 8. It's really, really cool, and it's just a bit more interesting, you know. It's not just like, here's the chorus again. Another technique you could do to and don't forget, like the final chorus, which is around here, right? Yeah, so yeah, man, so this is meant to be the highest point of the entire song right here, and I think this is where you really want to be able to throw in a lot of more elements, what you can. So extra counter melodies, maybe the main hook that you would have implemented at the intro and developed throughout the song, and then this would have been the final part with the most intricate melody. Well, it's not super intricate, but, you know, but developed form of the melody here. Maybe switch up the beat a bit. Maybe make it change, maybe halftime it, maybe go into like more of a hip-hop trap groove, you know, just something that's going to keep the listener interested, but at the same time, this is the highest point of the song right here. You want to be able to throw in everything you got right here, but you know, within reason, so it's not battling for sonic space or sounding horrible or discordant or whatever. A lot of the top liners I work with, they would probably add a lot more ad-libs and vocals here, and like more kind of expressive, emotive vocal parts here. This is just, everyone's just working together to make the end of the song the highest point. And this is something that I would recommend you do here. You know, you just gotta keep the interest, man. Gotta keep it going. And so listen. Nice. So yeah, overall, in short, I just want to summarize the beat. It's very good production. I think it's very tight. Your levels are super tight. Your vocalist is great. So for the next song, what I would recommend you do is have more variation between the sections. Make the sections much more obvious that they are different sections. I would focus in on having more chord variations, not just the same 4-chord progression, but if you do, you need to be able to switch it up and maybe go to an 8-chord progression or another 4-chord progression that aren't the same chords. Maybe jump in and out of key a bit more on modulation just to keep it interesting. Definitely need a lot more vocal harmonies and more vocals going on. Try and drop in a rap section, whether it's verse 2 or the middle 8, or if it's for a rapper, maybe have an extra section like maybe the B chorus. Drop in another melodic or vocal hook that you can implement maybe in the B chorus, maybe in the verse, and maybe in the introduction. And think about a theme that you can develop throughout the entire song, or what we, you know, if you want to go orchestral and classical, you call it a motif. But have it very simple and stripped back at the start of the song and show development throughout the song. This helps, it's literally musical storytelling, and the listeners can really appreciate that, and they can hear development in the music. Okay, so now I kind of want to talk to you a bit about the mindset stuff, which I personally feel is the most important part of the video. Yeah, as I said before, being good and being an awesome producer is important, don't get me wrong. But what I've learned over the years is it's about 15 to 20% of the entire music career puzzle. Now, I'm not sure how far you want to go with your music and what you want to be able to do, and if you want to work in Korea or Japan. But from my own experience and what I've seen, quite simply put, you know, if you're it's just not going to work for you. It's real simple. You could be the best producer, you could be awesome, but if you're it's not going to work because no one wants to work with you. You know, people just want to work with their friends, or they want to work with people who are easy, hot at what they do, and nice, you know. So just always be a cool guy. And I've got that vibe from your emails and stuff that you come across as, so far what I've seen, a very nice person. And it's very important to be like that. And this is something that overrides it. Now, another mindset thing that I want to talk to you about is really, really important. K-pop pitching is difficult. I started in 2012, 2013, and I wrote only a handful of tracks, like 5-6 K-pop tracks. They all got rejected. No one talked to me. I have probably written about, in the last year, 60, maybe 70 ideas, and these ideas and songs, and these ideas can be just, you know, like a chord progression, and then I didn't finish it. I didn't even make it to the chorus or pre-chorus, you know. But overall, I did that. Now, songs that got finished with a top line and that were created and pitched to the publisher, I've done about 25, 30 songs that have been finished by other people. The reality is, I've had no cuts yet. You know, I've had holds, which has been great, and I've only started to get holds in the last kind of month or so, and I had 1 or 2 holds maybe at the start of the year. If you stop, you fail. Your mind is going to stop you being a good producer, and not only that, it's going to stop you doing anything in K-pop or J-pop production or song pitching or whatever you want to do in life with your music. Your mind is the only thing that's going to stop you, and that's the main thing that you need to battle. Now, I probably could have learned everything a lot quicker if I had a bit more confidence in my music and production. Now, what I've heard here is you have literally absolutely no problem. Like with your production, mixing, it is really, really good. And you only need tweaks. To be honest, you only need tweaks, and that's great. But one of the biggest things I got to say is that what publishers say to me is that you need to have a catalog. You can't just have one song and then pitch it to everyone and expect it to work. You need to have like a couple of albums worth of tracks that are really good, and then pitch them out. And this is why mindset, yet again, is more important, because you need to have that mindset to have the foresight to get through to that point. And it's really important that you do that. And I think that that's anything that you do in music. You need to know about the end goal. You need to keep that vision going, and you need to keep working. And if stuff doesn't work, that's cool. Maybe reiterate the process and try a different technique. It's not over. It's only over if you quit. And a lot of it's about testing. Cool. All right. Well, you've got my email. You got my contact. So if you need anything else, let me know. And thanks again.